I was actually
Mm.
going to end my subscription, but I did send out one last message and I sent it to her, to Ramona. I didn't really expect her to even respond back. And so I was getting ready to shut it down and a message popped up from her.
So you sent
Uh,
a message to Ramona, and then Ramona, what happened on your side?
I was getting ready to shut mine down too.
Ramona and Cortez were about to quit online dating for good. Cortez was just about to end his subscription when he sent one last message. Ramona was ready to delete her account too until she saw Cortez's profile and decided to open that one last message. That single message changed everything. And within months, they were inseparable. And 6 months later, they were married. I'm Dee Dee Patterson, and on this channel, I share real stories of couples who found lasting love online because I want you to believe in love again and know that dating apps really do work. After all, I met my husband of 15 years on a dating app too. Ramona and Cortez's story proves that even when you're about to give up, love can still find you. Let's dive in. Hello, welcome back to Finding Love Online. We have another couple. We have the Robinson family, Ramona and Cortez. Hi, guys. So, we're just going to get started on the first question. What do you both do for a living? Who wants to go first?
I currently work for the Department of Veteran Affairs here in Birmingham, Alabama. I'm a medical support assistant right now. That's currently, but soon I'll be studying for my social work license exam and switch into
Wow.
social work.
Nice. And what about you, Ramona?
I work for Ensemble Health Partners as a claims follow up specialist. Also, train the new hires. When they come on board, I onboard the new hires. And then I also have a small business, Colorful Creations, where I
Ooh.
custom design jewelry and
Wow.
hats and wine glasses and tumblers and all kinds of stuff. So,
Nice. Thank you for that. So then we'll just jump right into the other questions. How long have you guys been married?
6 years.
6 years.
Yeah, we just
Okay.
celebrated our 6 year August 15th.
August 15th. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I like the August anniversaries. I have one too. And then what site did you meet on?
Blackpeoplemeet.com.
Black people meet. Nice. People are always trying to see which ones work. So I've had a couple of black people meet. So nice. And then how did you meet? Who wants to go first and talking about how you met?
I was getting ready to like end my subscription, and it's a funny story behind that because I'm a disabled veteran. So when I would tell women on the site that I was a disabled veteran, I would get ghosted. So I was actually
Mm.
going to end my subscription, but I did send out one last message and I sent it to her, to Ramona. I didn't really expect her to even respond back. And so I was getting ready to shut it down and a message popped up from her.
You were like in the process of shutting it down,
Yes.
and she responded back to the message.
Well, yeah, I think it had been like a week or so that I had sent her a message.
Hmm.
Was it?
No, it was the same day.
Oh, my time is always messed up. So
I understand completely. So you sent a message to Ramona, and then Ramona, what happened on your side?
I was getting ready to shut mine down too.
Okay.
And I saw the message and I went through his pictures because that was
Okay.
something that I always did. I went through his pictures and I was like, okay. I was like, he's a handsome little old thing. And then I saw some of his pictures and I was like, oh God, he might be a little nerd, But I still, responded to his message.
Nerd. Okay. Okay.
I thought
Gotcha.
it was nerdy. I just from some of the pictures, just from some of the pictures in this thing, I was like, oh God, he might be a little nerdy. But then I was thinking to myself, hey, you can't go wrong because we chit chatted on there for a little while.
So you guys start chatting, you got on the phone, and you didn't recognize him at first. How long after you guys started talking on the phone did you have your first date?
It was about a month.
A month.
It was
Okay.
about a month. Yeah.
We didn't live in the same city at that time. I was
Right.
living in Columbus because I was going to Ohio State and she was in Cincinnati.
Hmm.
Okay. How far are those cities from each other?
About an hour and a half.
Yeah, well,
About an hour and a half. It
An
was not
hour
bad.
and a half.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I drove up and spent the weekend.
Okay. So where did you guys go on your first date?
Wingstop.
Wingstop. Okay.
And that's
And then-
when I found out he was not a nerd.
Okay. How did going to Wingstop make him not a nerd or
'cause I was in there cracking jokes and stuff.
okay, so you still thought he was just from his pictures
Mhm.
and even okay. So when you guys first saw each other, was it love at first sight? What were your thoughts when
Well, that
you
wasn't the
first saw
time
each
we
other?
saw each other though, remember?
In person, it was.
Oh, because you fell out the bed that time.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know if it was love at first sight.
Okay.
Because I think we talked for 3 or 4 weeks before that weekend even came. I remember asking about, and this was before I came up there. I said, I feel like I love you. And he said, I feel like I love you too.
This was before you guys met in person?
Yes.
Just
It
from the conversations?
Before, maybe the weekend before
Yeah,
or a few days before I came up for the weekend.
because we spent a lot of
Okay.
time texting and
Yes,
talking
yes.
on the. So we spent a lot of time getting to know each other.
Like it was like all day,
Yeah,
Okay.
even though
Wow.
every day, all day.
I was in class, she would, I'll be not paying attention and what they were saying. She was at work, we would text, and I think the first time we FaceTime, it was funny. We were texting, and she said, "Oh, I fell out the bed," and so
I said I almost fell out the bed.
I think in my mind I was checking to see if she was okay, but I think I was gonna laugh at her anyway. So I FaceTimed her to make sure she was okay, and that was the first time we actually like
Seeing each other.
saw each other.
Okay. I got you. Okay. And that was like how much time before the first date that you FaceTimed each other?
What was that? I don't know. What was it, about a week before?
Yeah, like,
Okay.
maybe a week, 2
Maybe
weeks
a
before.
week or two before we
Okay.
met.
Okay. So then when you were at Wingstop, it was just you got you continuing talking because you guys got used to talking to each other
Mhm.
and Cortez was making a lot of jokes. Is that what happened on that first date?
Mhm. Yep.
Okay.
He said, you should get up and go throw something away or something like that. And I looked at him and I said, why? And he said, so I can look at your butt.
What?
Oh yeah.
Okay. You just
So
said it out loud. Okay.
that was really cute.
Okay. So did you get up, throw something away after he said that?
They didn't even have a trash can.
No, I didn't.
Oh, it was one. Okay.
Yeah, they didn't have a trash can. No, I didn't get up.
So how did you guys feel on that first date, being around each other?
It was
Comfortable,
fun.
fun.
We
Okay.
went to the liquor store.
God. Oh, it was fun. It was comfortable. It wasn't like I wasn't nervous. I
Okay.
don't know if he was nervous, but I wasn't nervous. It was fine. It was good.
Okay. So
I felt like I could be myself. Apparently, he felt like he could be himself too. So,
yeah, those are all good signs where you could feel like you could be yourself around your
Mhm,
person. And then, so what happened after that first date?
Can I cut your hair now?
I think I had really short hair at the time. The next day we were getting out. I don't even remember where we were going. And he gave me a haircut.
Oh, wow.
From that day, he became my personal barber.
Okay. I was going to ask you if you did a good job, but
Oh my
I'm
God,
assuming
yes.
if he became your
Yes.
personal barber. Okay. And then I think you said you stayed the weekend.
Mhm.
Then after that, did you guys make it official, or how long after that did you make it official?
I think it was official that weekend.
It was
It
official.
was official
Okay.
that weekend. And then
Okay.
I turned around and I came back I left after work on a
Okay.
Thursday.
Well, I came down to see you though before, because remember I met Carol Ann the next weekend.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah, he did.
So
Okay.
the next
He-
weekend, I caught the Greyhound and went to Cincinnati. Her daughter picked me up at the Greyhound station.
Okay.
And
And that's when he put me on his phone plan. He put me on his phone plan because the plan that I was on, like where I live, my room was in the basement and I would lose signals. And he was
Okay.
like, I'm putting you on my plan because that's ridiculous.
Wow.
I'm not going to do that. So we went to T-Mobile. He put me on his plan. And my daughter said, well, Mom, you can't leave him now because you're on his phone plan.
So your daughter liked him, I guess.
Oh my God. She loved
Mm.
and to this day. I mean, I have 3 daughters. And
Okay.
but she's the baby. And
Okay.
she was always under us. And yeah, she loves him to death. To this day, she calls him bonus dad.
Aw, that's
Yeah.
cute. Did you have any kids, Cortez?
yes, I have 4, 3 sons and a daughter.
Okay. So then after that, you visited her, and then I guess you went up and visited Cortez. Ramona, you went up to visit Cortez.
Yeah, I was missing him. So I went up during it was a work day. It was a work week.
Oh,
It's a Thursday.
wow.
I got up after work. I drove up. They got up at like 5 o'clock in the morning to
Mhm.
come back home so I could make it to work.
You were with him, and then you got up at 5 a.m. to drive the hour
Back.
and a half back to your
Mhm.
job. Okay.
Yeah.
After you guys got in, I mean, you said you're official. How long did it take before you guys got engaged and then married?
That was a few, what were they, like 6 or 7 months or something like that?
Well, no, we got engaged. I don't even remember when we got it. I think we got engaged like on our first trip to Atlanta.
Yeah.
We took our first trip together to Atlanta. And
Okay.
I believe either right before that trip is when we got engaged.
Okay. About how many months after you met on a dating app would you say that was?
I would say 5, maybe 5 or
5
6, or
months.
somewhere like that.
Well, our trip was in May. We met in
Okay.
February. We March.
Yeah,
April, May.
yeah.
About 2 or 3 months. It was like 2 or 3 months.
Okay. And then you got married in August, from May to August.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it is about the 6 or 7 months.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow. How did that happen that you got engaged and then married that quickly?
I guess we didn't want to become serial daters. I
Right.
think like while we were like in the process of getting to know each other, we both had went out on we both had went out on dates. Well, she went out on a date and I went out and saw this girl. It was funny because I text her. I went to see the girl. I went up to the bar and I was sitting with my son and I was sitting there texting her. I said, "How did the date go?" And she thinks I was upset, but I don't think I was upset about
You
it.
said you were. You said when I told you I was going on that date, you said I was sitting there mad.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah. But that was my last date.
Why were you guys dating other people? What happened there?
At that point, we hadn't really solidified anything. So
Okay.
this was like maybe right after we started talking. That was my last date, and I believe it was his last date too.
Mhm.
And we had a lot in common. I mean, like literally, it was like we was like 2 peas in a pod.
Well, for you guys
Yes.
had a lot in common.
Yes.
Similar backgrounds growing up, like both being adopted.
Wow.
Both of us had been married twice, and we had like a street gang of kids.
This was the crazy one. I had a grandson. He had a granddaughter. They were both 5 at the time, I believe.
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
Maybe 4. And my grandson's birthday was in May. His granddaughter's birthday was in June.
Oh, cute.
Yeah. So, I mean, we had so many like similarities.
You actually met London before you met Tierra.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We had so many similarities, in our life prior to
Okay.
meeting each other.
What made her stand out on the dating app? Like, what made you send her a message?
It was a picture that she had. She was wearing a black dress Yeah, I think it was a black dress and black and gold dress, and she was standing up against this wall, and her butt was like sticking out. It was really like out there. So and we didn't live far from each other, and we lived in two different cities, but I don't even know how we popped up on each other's radar living in two different cities like that, because normally it would give you people who were living close to you. So
Right.
I kind of felt like it was something special because she popped up living in Cincinnati and I'm living in Columbus. But speaking as a man, it's a man is more always physical attractions.
Okay.
To be honest.
Did you look at her bio at all, or it's just a picture?
No,
of
I
her?
read her bio and I thought it was interesting. You know, I think we
Yes,
both
I had just graduated.
yeah, she had just graduated. I was a year away from graduating, so I think that was one of the common denominators as well. Both, you know, being both of us seeking our the bachelor's degree level education.
That picture actually was from my graduation dinner for my bachelor's. I had just gotten my bachelor's.
So then, for you, Ramona, what stood out about Cortez when he was on the dating app Black People Meet?
His lips.
Okay. So for both of you, it's physical.
I
Okay.
loved his lips. They just looked so soft and pretty.
Okay.
I still look at my husband today and say, "You are so handsome." I did think he was a handsome man. You know, I went through his
Okay.
pictures and there were a few where I was like, "Ooh, wow." And then knowing that he was in school at his age,
Right.
and I was as well. Like I said, we did have a lot of commonalities.
Good. Yeah, it seemed like so both of you guys were like older, going back to school for your bachelor's degree.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, so you both there was the physical for the profiles. So then what do you like about Cortez now that you've been married for 6 years?
He is very smart. Like,
Okay.
I have never seen anyone who knows so much about Black history, politics. When we first met, you know, we would have text conversations because most of our communication was through text because we hated talking on the phone. But like, he was so smart, like he was so educated. I was drawn to that.
Good.
And I still am. Like, we'll go to like museums. Like, we've gone to a few Black history museums, or you know, and he'll be educating me as we're walking through the museum, and I just be so amazed. Like, God, he's so daggone smart. So
wow,
that is one thing I love about him. And he does spoil me. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think he's ever told me no.
Give examples of spoiling.
You name it, I get it. But I have this thing that I do. If I really, really, really want something, I'll look at him and I'll bat my eyes and I'll poke my lip out. And he's like, okay. You know, sometimes he tries to say, no, that's not going to work this time. And I'll keep doing it and he'll give in. So, I mean, whether it's something that I want, he has made so many things happen for me since we've been married, like things that nobody has ever done for me. Like,
nice.
Never. I tell my friends all the time, like, y'all, I'm spoiled. I don't have to do no dishes. I don't have to clean up because he do it all.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Like that. Okay.
Well, and that's it's partly prior military and OCD put together. So I'm just like this neat freak or whatever. And I did try to tell her no. And here's the story if you have time. So we had bought a car. We had a car that broke down. And so we went and we bought a car. And so I drive to work every day. She works from home. So I'm, you know, going back and forth to work. So she calls me up at work one day and says, if she calls me, I'll say, what's wrong or what do you need? If she, because normally she'll text. So if something like, if she calls, I'm like, what do you want or what do you need?
When she calls instead of texting, that's what you're saying. Okay.
So she was like whining over the phone, talking about, I want a car. And so I was like, no, we can't get one. We can't afford it without it, you know. And so, of course, I gave in. And when we went to get the car, because I had co-sign for the one we already had bought, I couldn't co-sign
Mhm.
for another car. The second car had to only be in her name, and not to be, putting too much business out there. She had enough for the initial down payment. I was like, okay, what the heck? And I just gave her the money so that she could get the car and put it in her name. So it's things like that. I'm a big tennis shoe person. Like whenever I buy some tennis shoes, I buy her a pair.
Okay.
She's only allowed to wear Nike, can't wear New Balance or anything like that.
Oh, why are there rules?
That's just a running joke with him. He always say, I never buy you any New Balances, only Nike Air Maxes.
Yeah, we wear Air Maxes. So
Okay. So Cortez, what do you like about Ramona now that you guys have been married for 6 years?
one of the biggest things I like about her is she's a nurturer. Like one of the biggest things we don't have a problem doing for the kids.
Okay.
If it's like I'll ask her or she'll ask me if we could, do something, maybe send this kid some money or whatever. But the fact that she's a nurturer is the most impressive thing about her. Like the first time she met my daughter, I hadn't told my
Mhm.
daughter that we was engaged. But my daughter had got into a car accident and we went to make sure she was okay. And they just hit it off. And she saw like it's just the way she is. She's very family oriented. And like my daughter just recently had contracted meningitis. She allowed me to drive up to Ohio from Alabama. And when she said, she was like, you need to go because Tierra needs to see you because she had lost her
Mm.
memories, like 10 years worth of memories. And it was no, I didn't have to like jump up and down and be like, I need to go see my daughter. She was like, no, you need to go. She said, I would
Good.
love to go. She said, but you need to go. So I just like the way she nurtures. She doesn't treat the kids any different. She treats them all like they're her kids. And I tend to do the same. But her nurturing aspect is like the bomb. Even with the dog. She nurtures the dog.
Nice. So, what advice do you have for people who are looking for love online?
I have a girlfriend who was in a bad relationship and she's like, oh, best friend, I'm ready to get back out there. And I said, get on a dating website. I said, if you're a person that's busy, you're not going to meet anybody. You know what I mean? Because you're
Right.
always on go mode. So I told her, I said, get on the dating website that me and Cortez met on. I said, I recommend that one because it's more professional.
Okay.
You gonna have it's still some kooks out there, but not as many as you would meet on like Plenty of Fish or Tag or
Okay.
something like that. So
Right.
I told her, I said, you just have to weed out the bad ones. Pay attention, and you don't have to jump right into a relationship. You can date a few people because that's what I did. That's
Okay.
what he did. You can date a few people before you say, okay, I want to be with this one. Honestly, when me and him met, we knew we wanted to be married again, but we wasn't trying to just jump right into it. So I would just say, go for it. You just keep your eyes open and just weed them out, weed the bad ones out.
Good. What about you, Cortez? What is your your
My
advice?
my advice is to be open minded. The minute I would say I was a disabled veteran, boom, I get ghosted. And
Mm.
I say to be open minded. I also agree with the website. I feel like if you're paying to be on a dating site, then it's probably more worth it than just get it on there and like hoping somebody sends you a message that you can freely respond to. Paid subscriptions are always, in my opinion, were always the best way to go. Be open minded.
Right.
And then another thing is a lot of people tend to look for the finished product.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big
Mm-hmm.
mistake because in my opinion, it makes you look like you're just trying to use somebody or you just want to, I don't know how to say it. I agree. I feel like if you're trying to be in a relationship, you go on a dating site, then it's something that you guys should work toward and build a relationship. Don't
Okay.
go in looking for
Him or her
the
to
finish.
be already established.
But yeah, so like I always say, if you're not with me on the fourth down, then I don't need you
Mm.
at the touchdown. That's what I always say. I would don't like want a bunch of people who celebrate me in the end versus somebody who celebrate me through the process. Like I said, she celebrated me through the process. I celebrated her through the process. She was the reason I went back and got my master's degree.
And he was the reason I
Wow.
went back and got my master's degree.
So
Good.
we were
Wow.
we were both there for each other during the master's degree. It was times where I wanted to just say, forget this. She would always say, "You too smart for that."
Good.
Building the process is better than trying to find the finished product.
Nice.
Yep.
That's good. Good advice. And I agree with the paid subscriptions. All right. I tell my clients to go ahead and pay for that subscription.
Mhm.
I agree with that. Okay. And when you say the finished product, you mean the person who already has the good job and they're already established? What do you mean when you say the finished product?
I tend to feel that what I would do is when I was on there, I would read profiles. A lot of things that turned me off about some of those profiles were, even though I had all of those things, it would just turn me off if you were looking for somebody who had the house, the car, the job, the passport, and all that kind of stuff. That was a turn off to me. Because to me, it seemed like you're not willing to build anything with somebody. You want somebody who can just automatically take care of you. And I might be wrong by saying that, but that's how it look. That's how it appears. So I was looking for somebody I could build something with, not somebody who wanted me to have everything. Because I'm gonna tell you the truth, our first few years of marriage, we commuted
back and forth.
So another interesting fact is I was on a fixed income.
Okay.
I was going to school. I was on a fixed income, and she still accepted me for the process that I was going through. It was like she knew that if I completed the process, that everything would turn around, and everything, not even turn around, but everything would get, like they say, get better and better.
Good. So women actually had that in their dating profile. You have to have a house, a car, a passport. You kept reading that?
Yeah, I kept reading a lot of that. Yeah.
Wow.
Because in my profile, I would never discuss that kind of stuff because I felt like, why am I giving you my full resume? Yeah. To me, it was like that's what you're looking for. So my profile never had. I think it mentioned me being in school, and I think that was another thing that women didn't want. They wanted somebody who was already established. I've done a lot in my lifetime. I mean, I've been in the military, raised kids, suffered through failed marriages. I felt like I didn't need to woo anyone like that. At my age, I felt like, hey, that's the accomplishment right there. Just the fact that I decided to go back to school, because a lot of people in our age range don't do it. A lot of them say they wish they had but they don't. So when I say the finished product, it's like they want everything already there. I feel like if everything is already there, there's no goal to do anything further.
With me and him, when we were getting to know each other, he said to me, my plan is to move to Atlanta. My response to that, I want to go. I had men prior to him that wanted me to move. And I'm like, I ain't going nowhere. I ain't leaving. It was just something about him, that made me feel safe enough to want to make that move with him. And he tells me all the time, thank you, baby. And I'm like, thank you for what? Thank you for trusting me and, moving down here with me. So in what he's saying, you have to build to that. You have to build up to that. So we've built a lot together in these 6 years.
Another thing that would help is, one of the things I felt like that she appreciated about me is once she got past the whole square peg thing and saw who I was, but I was always my authentic self.
He was.
That's one thing people always say about me. I'm quick with it.
Yes.
Some people say stuff without thinking, but trust me, I think about what I'm saying. It just might come off kind of harsh. But if Chris Rock said, I don't want to meet somebody's representative.
Yes.
I want to meet that authentic person. So I think it was good for her when she came up to see me in my element. And then I went to see her in her element.
Good. He has not changed one bit. Not one bit.
Nice.
everybody, we can be out at the bar and we have this little wit that we do, and people don't understand it, but there's a lot of people that's like, oh my God, y'all two are so cute. Like, y'all are just so cute because I let him be him and he let me be me.
That's big right there. I don't want to talk about but I was in a previous marriage and she tried to change me, wanted me wearing Dockers and deck shoes and pretty much looking like Carlton from the Fresh Prince, and that wasn't me at all. And that's I'm jeans, t-shirt. I like to be comfortable. I like to be comfortable in myself, and I like to, like I said, I'm quick with it. I feel like I always have something to say about everything, and I want to be able to, just like I let her be herself, she lets me be myself. And that's one of the things that's, like I said, be your authentic self.
Yeah, and a lot of marriages are not that way. I'll be going on and on and on about him. But I suffer from RA, and before I was diagnosed, he was like on it. I couldn't tie my shoes. I couldn't button up my pants. I needed help getting off the toilet. I needed help getting out the shower, all of that. And he did it. Didn't complain. Not one time did he complain. So you have to just let that person be who they are. Because I guarantee if I tried to change him and I was going through that, I don't think he would have been, you know what I mean?
Were you able to be yourself with Cortez from that first date? Like from the first time you met him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know Cortez said he was himself, but you were also yourself. Okay. What marriage advice do you have? Who wants to go first?
You take that one.
You got to learn how to take the good and the bad. You're not going to have every day is not going to be peaches and cream. You have to learn how to take the good with the bad, because if you don't, you're doomed to fail. If money gets tight, you don't have that support system. You have somebody who is constantly complaining and all this kind of stuff, and then not willing, not necessarily help, but be of encouragement.
Okay.
If all you think is that every day is supposed to be fantastic, rose petals and angel halos and all that kind of stuff, then you're kidding yourself.
Right.
Because every day is not going to go like you want it to. Like, we have our days. There are very few, but we have our times when we probably get on each other's nerves or whatever. We're willing to
fight the good fight.
Fight the good fight. We talk about what might have transpired, but we don't say, I'm leaving. I'm packing up my car and I'm going.
Well,
but that had nothing.
I did try to say, I want a divorce. He just kept talking. Like, we're going back and forth. He just kept talking. I'm like, I wanted a divorce. He just kept talking. Now, one thing that he said to me before we got married is, we're not getting no divorce.
Okay.
I don't care if I have to sleep in one room and you sleep in another room. We're not getting no divorce.
Okay.
But me being the runner that I was, because that's what I did. When things got tough, I ran. My first marriage and my second marriage, they were crappy anyway. But I was known to, I could be dating somebody, they hit a nerve, I'm out. So that's always my go-to. He showed me. He said it, yeah, but he also showed me. We're not getting no divorce. He showed me. So I would definitely say, don't tell your spouse you want a divorce.
Okay.
But fight. You have to fight. Marriage is an ongoing fight. You have to fight that good fight and hang in there.
Okay.
You get out of it what you put into it. I look at it as like those mason jars your mother used to make the nasty grape jelly or whatever. It still had the seeds in it, but you get what you put out of it. So if you don't put anything into it, you won't get anything out of it. That's why I say I wasn't looking for somebody who wanted the finished product, because my question is, well, what are you going to bring to the table? You know what I'm saying? I might be bringing the finances, I might be bringing the smarts, I might be bringing the know-how, whatever. But what do you have to offer me? And if all you have to offer me is sex, that's a no-go for me. Before we decided to make it official, the girl that I was kind of, I don't know what we were doing, but I asked her, I said, well, what do you bring to the table? And she said,
her response.
She said, I can cook, I clean, and I can have sex. I was like, okay. Like I said, I was turned on, speaking of Ramona, because we had the same kind of goal set, like education. I mean, it was like knowing that somebody was on at the level that I was trying to get to, or heading to that level, made it a lot better. Back to the question, be your authentic self. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Whatever you put into it, that's what you're gonna get out of it. If you don't put anything into it, you're gonna get nothing out of it.
Right.
We've
Good.
seen so many people that they're impressed about the wedding ring and how much they spent on the wedding, and what 2 years later, not or sometimes even less, they're done
Right.
because they didn't
Okay.
put anything into it. It was all about what people see us doing instead of what's going on in the background. What do we got? What are we doing to make this work?
Right. Okay. What about you, Ramona? Do you have any other marriage advice? Or did you say everything you wanted to?
You know, you have to know how to communicate.
Yeah.
You have to be patient
Mm-hmm.
because it ain't gonna be like you see on TV. You have to be patient. You have to listen to the
Okay.
other person, whether it be through a hug or through a vacation. Or one thing I can say, he has supported me with my business.
Mm-hmm.
He supports, and
Nice.
you have to be supportive of your spouse's dreams, goals,
Right.
whatever they want to do.
So the last question, what do you like about being married? Who wants to go first?
Just having that person, having
Okay.
your person. We have this thing that we do, and this is how I know he's my person. I could be thinking something, he'll
Mm-hmm.
say it, or
Oh, okay.
we'll say something at the same time. And I'll be looking at him
Aw.
and I say, you are my person. I love having that. When you're younger, you out there, you're dating and you're jumping from this person to that person to this person to that. Being married, you don't have to worry about none of that. You don't have to worry about being single. You don't have to worry about having someone to make you feel safe. I say that he has given me everything that I needed, because prior to meeting him, I have daddy issues. I wanted my dad to make sure my locks are changed, or make sure this is done, or when I was single, and he never did that. The dating, I always wanted a man to do that. You know what I mean? He came in and he didn't know I wanted this. He didn't know I needed this, but he gave it.
Nice. Okay.
I know that I can depend on him. I know that he supports me. And having somebody like that in your life, it's beautiful.
What's your
I
favorite
think
part about being married?
I would have to agree with her 100%. I didn't have what I felt like a support system in my previous marriages. What I like about being married is to know that I'm not in competition with my wife.
Right.
I don't have to feel like I have to prove anything,
Good.
go out of my way to prove anything, because like she said, everything is in my actions are not based on trying to prove anything. It's just natural. That's how I naturally am. I could, again, being myself, not worrying about whether I'm doing everything correctly or whatever, that kind of stuff. I don't have to. So just what I like about being married is just being able to be myself with her. I
Good.
like, coming home, I come in the house. I got a little routine that I do. Our dog always comes and greets me first. Well, she hears my radio because I drive with my music kind of loud, and she'll come downstairs, and then I know that I can go upstairs, or she'll come down, or Ramona come downstairs and give me like a hug and a kiss and how was your day? Even though we've talked throughout the day, just knowing that I can turn the key and come in and feel that love. You know what I'm saying?
Because when I hear that music, I'm like, ooh, my husband home, and
I love it.
it's a good feeling. I might not always get up out that bed, run downstairs all the time. But just to know, ooh, my man is home. That's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful feeling. Just to have your man, your husband, walk through that door after a hard day's work. That's the best feeling in the world.
Thanks so much for watching. If this story inspired you, don't forget to subscribe for more real life love stories from couples who met on dating apps. And if you're ready to find your own person, I've linked some free resources below to help you get started. See you in the next video.